We now have the chairman and CEO of One Championship, Mr. Chatri Sityodtong, joining us. Chatri, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you to all the media around the world who were joining the post-fight conference call.
Chatri, it's been an incredible month of martial arts action. Before we get into this Q&A, can you give us your thoughts on this One on TNT 4 event?
I thought from everything within our control in terms of production, marketing, I thought the team did a great job. I thought the athletes, gave it their all in this last show. So let's knock on wood that the TV rings tomorrow come out healthy.
Thank you for that, Chatri. We're going to open up the floor now to the Q&A. The first question will go to Jason Burgos of mixedmartialarts.com.
Hey, Chatri. So the first question I want to talk about is De Ridder. He makes the call out at the end of his fight, talking about going for the heavyweight title next, trying to attempt what Martin Nguyen couldn't do a few years ago with his 3 championships. I want to get your idea. What's your promoter thinking on this? Do you go for something like that, a historic thing, have this guy, try to go for 3 titles? Or is there a thought, look, I can't have him hold up 2 divisions now as a 2-division champion? What's your thinking? What's the best for you? What's the best for the fighters or something like that?
I just believe in supporting our athletes as much as possible, and in their dreams, and as long as they're achieving, great, outstanding performance, in the arena, that's what matters most. And so I'm definitely open to the idea of, Renier challenging for the heavyweight world title. I'm definitely open. I'm definitely open to Renier going for a 3rd division, but we still have to see the results of Brandon Vera versus Arjun Bular in Wandongal in a couple of weeks, right? So.
Now, moving on from that to lightweight, Shinya Aoki had a fantastic performance. It would seem like he would be the clear-cut guy to be next for Christian Lee, but he ends up calling out other names, Akiyama, Stage Northcutt. What's your thinking on that? Christian has beaten everybody in the top 5 for the most part. That seems like an easy fight in a rematch. Or does Okure Yoon, who had a great performance, does he kind of jump the line from 5, and is he in contention now for the title?
Yeah, I think, Christian has beaten Shinya once, so I'm not sure that, he's ready. He's excited for that matchup. But, yeah, I think Shinya has earned a title shot, definitely. And Oak obviously put on an outstanding performance, shocking everybody, especially in that first round against Eddie. Either one, but again, the event just ended, so I haven't had time to talk to the team and make any decisions yet.
All right, one last question. What are your thoughts? I know it's, again, kind of same idea, future thoughts, but just instant rapid thoughts on Eddie Alvarez. Where would you like to go with him next? He's now 1-2-1 in the promotion. Does rematches with Edward Foliang or Nashiukin make a lot of sense? Would you like to see something new going to names like Northcutt or Akiyama?
I think that, I still want to see the trilogy match, Shinya versus Eddie. I think that still is a good fight. Although Eddie has to win 1 or 2 in order to fight Shinya, just get on the right side. Eddie has struggled against Edward Foliang before finishing him, and so it's a tough one. I love Eddie, but tonight's performance was definitely not one for the one for the ages. I was a little bit disappointed.
Our next question will go to Jesse Holland of MMA Mania.
Hey, Chatri. Bit of a bizarre ending to the Rug fight. I understand he was taken to a medical facility. Firstly, do you have an update on his condition? And secondly, do you have any insight into his delayed reaction after the bell, kind of what happened there?
It was a very disappointing fight. It was a very disappointing fight overall, and a very disappointing ending. I'm not sure what exactly happened or what was going on in Rugru's mind, but he said he was truly hurt, but the blow was at the bell, so it wasn't an illegal blow. I think there's a little bit of confusion because he said it was illegal, after the bell, and so we had to check the tape. I'm just, it didn't look particularly like a hard punch, But again, these things, if they're at weird angles, can still inflict damage. So I just don't know. I haven't got an update on Rug's situation right now.
Honestly, it's been a crazy couple of weeks for one. A lot of big names have gone down, and not just DJ and Eddie. We had Rug take the L tonight. You think the TNT shows have kind of put the rest of the MMA world on blast? Like, hey, you can't just come over here and expect to coast.
Yeah, no, I think it's the first time that the U.S. fan base is realizing this or understood it. One Chatri has the greatest roster in the world. I've said it, whenever fans and media ask me, and they ask me often, about would I ever do a co-promotion with UFC or whatever, and I would love it, champion versus champion, the best of the East versus the best of the West. But, if you look at the track record of the UFC athletes who've come into one championship in the last couple of years, they've lost, I think, 80% or something, and most of them got knocked out. And so, I'm very confident in our roster. I'm very confident in our world champions. That being said, we're always constantly looking to upgrade and find the very best in the world across all divisions. And so we've been beefing up our heavyweight division in the last 6 months, and we expect bigger signings going forward. So, but yeah, I mean, it didn't surprise me, but I think for U.S. fans, because the majority of MMA media is in America, right? So American fans get a lot of UFC, but don't get a lot of what's happening in the rest of the world. But yeah, I truly believe that one has the best roster in the world.
Last one for me, Chatri. Colby Northcutt looked outstanding tonight. I know she's kind of been frustrated not being able to compete with everything that's going on in the world the past year or so. How anxious are you to get her back into action after what you saw tonight?
Yeah, definitely want to get her back in action. But, just to be very clear, she got married, and so that also contributed to the, her not getting back into action as quickly as possible and all that stuff. So there's a lot of other factors other than COVID. But yeah, I mean, Colby looked fantastic tonight. I'm a big fan. She's a super nice person, and clearly has the same Sage Northcutt genes.
The next question goes to Nick Atkin of South China Morning Post. Nick.
Just wanted to, first of all, get your thoughts again back on Eddie. Do you think that maybe there's a chance he should try going to featherweight, dropping down a division? Are these guys maybe too big in one?
No, I mean, again, like, this is a real misnomer, right? So walking weight means they weigh their walking weight, and we check the hydration testing. So let's take a look at the Univite system in America. If you are 170 pounds walking weight, typically you'll shed water away. You go to the sauna and you cut down to 155 for the weigh-in. You weigh in at 155, but then immediately you drink up, right? You rehydrate. And so on fight night, the actual fight night in the UFC or Bellator, they're at 170. At one championship, 170, we don't allow you to cut water weight, during the week just to make the scales. You have to take a piss test, and you have to take a weigh-in test, right, throughout the week. So we're able to monitor the hydration levels of their athlete and their weight. So it's I know it's a little bit confusing to many, but it's actually very simple. A 155 pounder in the UFC actually walks at 170, 180, and they just cut weight during the fight week, right, to hit the scales. But by the fight night, they're already competing at a much heavier weight based on their rehydration.
Yeah, I mean, just if Eddie could possibly get down to that weight, do you think, I mean, there's some good matchups there in that division for him as well, but might that be more natural to him, do you think? I mean, could he get there?
I don't know. Again, it's all walking weight, right? So, yeah. I mean, Eddie looks pretty lean, pretty muscular. Could he lose another 10 pounds of walking weight? Again, you can't cheat the system. It's not about water. It's not about going to the sauna and shedding sweat, right? To drop to a lower division, it means you have to literally shed fat or muscle in order to make the other, the next division. So I'm not sure that Eddie can make the featherweight division in terms of walking weight.
Okay, and Also, Ongla, he put up a good show today, but I think Renier just had too much for him on the ground. But where does Ongla go from here? What do you think?
Yeah, I'll sit down and talk with Onla, but Renier proved that today he's a real deal. I mean, he dominated Onla, for 90% of the fight, and looked extremely sharp. But Onla is a champion, so I'm sure he's going to go back to the drawing board and upgrade his skills and hopefully come back stronger and better. But there's still plenty of other fights for him at middleweight or at light heavyweight.
And just finally, very quickly, Ritu Fogart, they announced she's going to fight Bi Nguyen at one Dangal event. Should be broadcast on May 15th, but she's also scheduled for the Atomweight Grand Prix a bit later in May. It's quite a quick turnaround for her there. Is there any risk involved, or have there been any changes to that lineup in the GP?
No, I mean, Ritu accepted both. She wanted to fight one more fight before the GP, and she knows that if she loses, she's risking a lot. But let's see what happens, right? I guess Ritu's confident she's going to win. I don't know. Against B.
Thank you, Nick. Our next question will go to Jay Anderson of Cage Side Press. Jay Anderson, please go ahead.
Thanks very much. And just a quick one for me, Chatri. You spoke about Colby Northcutt earlier. When we spoke to her, she expressed some interest in the idea of maybe a flyweight Grand Prix as you're looking to potentially build that division. Is that something you'd consider down the road?
Absolutely. I love World Grand Prix. It's just finding, the very best female athletes, in that division from around the world and doing Grand Prix. I love that idea.
Next question will go to Drake Riggs of My MMA News.
The one on TNT series has been, a crazy stretch of events, a lot of moments that stand out a lot. Just curious how you would summarize what we've seen in these 4 events.
I think it's just a start, it's a good introduction of one championship to American fans. They got a peek at some of our athletes, and they got they got to look at an entirely unique, differentiated brand and product, on broadcast. And obviously, they also saw some of the greatest martial artists on the planet in action. So I think overall, I would say it's a good start. I'm not satisfied with our TV ratings by any sense of the imagination. I think it's a good start. I don't think I'm grateful that our numbers are already stronger than Bellator and PFL's, and that makes one already the number 2 player in the U.S. in terms of broadcast product. But let's see what happens with our discussions with TNT and other potential broadcast partners in the U.S.
And is there a moment for you that kind of stands out above all the others?
Just trying to think about which fights I like. I thought the Rayun Oak fight against Eddie was really a fun, exciting fight. And I know, Eddie was a very heavily, he was heavily favored. He was a heavy favorite to win. I think it was minus 350 or something like that. So there's just a lot of talent, in one championship. I think a lot of people are finally seeing what we've already known out here in Asia. Trying to think of some other fun fights. I thought Shinya's performance against Edward Falang was just, again, he's been on a tear. I thought the best performance so far of the entire TNT series, I would say, would be Christian Lee versus Timofey Nastyukhin. That one was an outstanding, incredible fight. But I guess for me, the major themes are, one champion's introduction into primetime TV in America has already put us as the number 2 player in the U.S., and it's just the beginning. And I think the other theme is that American fans can now finally understand that one championship roster, genuinely can go head-to-head against any organization in the world.
And last question for me, when you return to TNT with whatever your next show ends up being on TNT.
Oh, one more thing. I think Adriano knocking out DJ was also a huge, shocking moment. That was a big highlight too, I'd say.
But as I was saying, for your return to one on TNT when you get back at it, are you hoping to have maybe bigger cards or a bigger card? Because, with these 4 that we've seen, a little bit more condensed with the 6 or 7 fights as opposed
to... It's not ideal, right? Because, historically we'll do anything from 12 to 16 fights, in a show. I think a couple of factors. Yeah, TNT wanted to test it out and gave a 90-minute slot. So 90 minutes, you can only do so much, right? In terms of number of bouts. And then the rest were on VR. But yeah, I agree. Like, so again, all this kind of stuff is up for discussion right now. We're talking, the teams are talking, I can tell you, with Turner, and I know that Turner's very happy. I know that American fans have been very excited about one. If you see all the Twitter chatter, if you look at all the press coverage, if you look at all the exciting fights, I think overall, it's a good start, is what I would say.
This next one will go to Leon Jennings of Asian Persuasion MMA.
I just want to quickly ask you about One Dangle. It seems like you've gone for an Indian theme there. I wonder what's the thinking behind that, and I guess that's why Ritu wanted to compete on that card, even though she's competing in the Grand Prix.
Yeah, because it's a big India card. We obviously play with a lot of different teams, and with our different cards and the names of the cards. One Dangal actually is not only Bollywood's biggest movie in history about Ritu's family, the Foghat wrestling family, but also Dangal means wrestling, wrestling pit. I'm not sure that the world knows, but India has a lot of high-level wrestlers, and so in honor of the Foghat family and in honor of Bollywood's biggest blockbuster movie in history, we wanted to just showcase the very best of India on the card, and so that's why it's called One Dangal. And obviously, the fact that Dangal is the biggest movie in Bollywood history, and it's based on the true story of the Foghat family, and we have the youngest daughter, Ritu, of that family. So we just thought it would be a very nice tie-in into trying to ignite India and welcome Indian athletes onto the global stage of martial arts.
Cool. What happens if Ritu loses against B. Nguyen? What happens? Does she still compete in the Grand Prix?
Yeah, no, I don't think she will be in the Grand Prix then, right? She's risking it, so let's see what happens. She must be confident. Otherwise, yeah.
Cool. And Jackie Buntown looked good tonight. There was talks before if she beat the winner of her and Wonder Girl, maybe would have fought for the inaugural strawweight Muay Thai title. Is there any talk about whether we'll see a title there soon?
Yeah, no, there'll definitely be a world title on the line eventually in that division. Jackie looked good tonight, but I was actually surprised by Ekaterina. It was a very, very close fight. It could have gone either way.
I agree. Lastly, ideally, when would you like to return back to TNT with another series?
Again, I can't comment right now. I can just tell you that very serious discussions are underway or have been underway actually from a couple weeks ago. So I can tell you that TNT is very happy with the results and very happy with the viewership number, with the buzz, the social media, and all that stuff. And obviously, for TNT to just come on for the very first time in live prime time, and already now, again, as I said, One Champ is already head and shoulders in terms of actual viewership, average viewership numbers above Bellator and PFL. I think we are 2 or 3x above PFL, and I think 2 or 3x above Bellator, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of average viewership numbers. And obviously, for broadcasters, that's what matters most.
It's been a fun month. Cheers, Chatri.
Thank you.
Chatri, this next question is from Bong Lakzada from Inquirer. His question is this. Hi, Chatri. This was a wild night in terms of result. Are you guys working on a rematch between Eddie and Edward? The first fight did have a roller coaster of an ending.
Yeah, that could be an interesting fight. That could definitely be an interesting fight. I just haven't had time to think about it. Yeah, I just haven't had time to think about it. Haven't had time to discuss with the team. There's a lot of options for Eddie. There's a lot of options for Edward. But I think the Filipino fans would love to see a rematch. I don't know if the rest of the world wants to see a rematch. It's hard for me to say right now.
This next question will go to Chris DeSantiago of MMA Island. Please go ahead.
We had the conversation on whether one on TNT4 would be the best card of the year so far. Would you have to agree with that?
No, I was not happy with the card overall. If I look at some of the cards we've done in the past, this doesn't rank anywhere close to being amazing by any. I thought it was an okay card. The fight didn't pan out the way I thought they would in terms of excitement. So from that perspective, I'd say it was just okay. TNT4 was okay. Not great, not bad, just okay.
Gotcha. And a lot of newer American fans, obviously the American audience isn't as used to watching one, with a lot of people didn't know about the legal knees until the Demetrius Johnson fight. With the Eddie Alvarez fight, it was more so on the rules of scoring. We don't have the round by round scoring. So were you surprised that there's a lot of critics saying that Eddie won the fight, not knowing the round by round scoring was in play?
Sorry, Eddie won the fight, you mean tonight?
Oh yeah, a lot of critics were saying that Eddie won the fight, even though Oak, won the first round pretty handily. And,
No. For me, it was very clear cut. Oak definitely won the fight. Again, we don't score round by round. We score. Well, you can go to a website. You can see the scoring criteria, but basically, damage is the most important criteria, or near finish is the most. And if you look at who landed the much more significant strikes, Oak by far, right? I think Eddie was 1 or 2 punches away from getting completely out in the first round, and Eddie scored 0 takedowns. He tried to take Oak down, for the whole fight, couldn't take him down. And did have a few good, solid strikes, but he didn't rock or rattle Oak at any point in time. Oak was never close to getting finished. So that is the criteria. But even if we scored this fight from a unified system, that first round was a 10-8 round for Oak, and the second round was probably a 10-10 round, and the last round could be 10-10 or 10-9. Both second and third rounds could have been 10-10 or 10-9 if you scored it under the under the unified system, right? But it was a clear-cut victory for me for Oak.
That's it from us, Chatri. Thank you so much for your time.
I'm actually shocked. I asked the media right now, do the media think that decision was controversial, Eddie's loss?
It seemed pretty clear.
A lot of fans, disagreed with it, but obviously it was a lot more newer American audience fans. With me being a fan of one for a while now, I already knew that Oak won that fight clearly. But I'm not sure if the media, but a lot of the fans, a lot of the newer American fans would disagree with that.
Got it. I'm surprised, yeah. Because I'm surprised because under any rule system, any voting system, and I think any ruling system, I think Eddie lost that fight. Just out of curiosity, what do the other media think? Like Jason Burgos and everybody else, it's just curious. Just as a temperature check on that fight, or Leon, or anybody, or Nick Atkins.
Clear Eddie lost by Drake Riggs. Most of them seem to agree with you, Chatri.
Got it. Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, under any ruling system, Eddie lost the fight. Okay, thanks.
One more here before we let you go. This one will be from Dylan Bowker of My MMA News.
Hey there, Chatri. I was just curious because with, Rainer DeRitter calling out the winner of the heavyweight championship fight there, is there a level of desire in wanting to position him in that kind of placement to give him the three-peat, kind of rarefied air type of status? Or would there maybe be a standout contender, a middleweight or light heavyweight that would take precedence for Rainer DeRitter in the next outing?
Let's see who wins the title fight first between Bullard, and I'd have to sit down, right? I mean, I haven't even talked about it. I was surprised. I had no idea that Renier was going to call out the heavyweight champ as well. I had just no idea. but I think it's an interesting idea, and I'm open to it. But I just want to see what happens in the heavyweights first. And plus, we've been really active in recruiting a lot of heavyweights from around the world, rising stars or prospects like a Rug, and letting them develop. And, I have big plans for the heavyweight division. I think that's the one division where, I'm not as proud of in terms of, the depth of athlete talent there. But I can tell you the last 6 months, we've signed a lot of big monsters that I think the heavyweight division has come on very, very strong, especially by next year.
Yeah, just a bit of a follow-up to that. Someone in the talent pool that locally I'm interested in, just being a fellow Canadian, Dustin Joynson. I'm kind of curious when Dustin Joynson can be expected to get into the one circle there, because I think he's a great addition to the roster there.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of talent we haven't even announced as well at the heavyweight division that people, there's so many incredible athletes around the world who don't necessarily have huge names yet, but they're actually outstanding athletes with real world championship potential, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for athletes, the very best martial artists on our planet with world championship potential. We want the very best.